Norway and Iceland, two Nordic nations with their own stories and paths. In this video, we'll explore why they have chosen to remain outside the European Union. The concept of neutrality has deep roots in Norway and Iceland, shaped by their historical contexts. Norway's neutrality was first established in the 19th century, aiming to avoid entanglements in European conflicts, while Iceland, having gained independence from Denmark in 1944, adopted a similar stance. Norway has twice decided against joining the European Union through referendums. In 1972 and again in 1994, Norwegian voters rejected EU membership, influenced by concerns over sovereignty and the impact on their robust sectors like fishing and oil. The Norwegian economy heavily relies on oil and fish, which play crucial roles in its financial independence. The oil industry, discovered in the late 1960s, transformed Norway into one of the world's leading oil exporters. Meanwhile, fishing has been a cornerstone for centuries. In Iceland, the economy is significantly supported by fisheries and renewable energy resources. The country is one of the world's largest fish exporters, and its geothermal and hydroelectric power capacities are substantial, emphasizing self-sufficiency and sustainability. Both Norway and Iceland prioritize sovereignty, particularly in controlling their abundant natural resources. This stance is a key factor in their decisions to remain outside the EU, ensuring that they maintain authority over their economic and environmental policies. Norway and Iceland occupy strategic locations in the North Atlantic, enhancing their geopolitical significance. While both countries are NATO members, they have opted to remain outside the European Union, allowing them to maintain a distinct stance in international affairs. Agricultural concerns significantly influence both nations' reluctance to join the EU. Norway and Iceland prioritize protecting their domestic farming industries, which face potential competition from European agricultural products. This protection helps sustain rural communities and traditional ways of life. Cultural identity plays a crucial role in the decision of both countries to remain outside the EU. Norwegians and Icelanders deeply value their unique heritage and languages, which they fear could be diluted by deeper integration into a pan-European identity. Public opinion in Norway and Iceland has consistently leaned towards skepticism of EU membership. Concerns about losing sovereignty and the ability to self-govern are predominant. This sentiment is reinforced by the belief that national interests are best served through independence. Both Norway and Iceland prefer to maintain legal and regulatory autonomy rather than submitting to EU bureaucracy. This autonomy allows them to tailor laws and regulations more closely to their specific national needs and circumstances, rather than adhering to broader EU-wide directives. Norway and Iceland have maintained economic stability despite the turbulence seen in the Eurozone. Their reliance on robust sectors like oil and fisheries has insulated them from the economic downturns that have impacted some EU member states. The exclusive economic zones of both countries have been a cornerstone in their disputes with the EU over fishing rights. Maintaining control over these zones allows them to manage their natural resources independently, fostering a sustainable local fishing industry. Environmental policies in Norway and Iceland are tailored to their unique landscapes and climates. Both countries prioritize green initiatives, such as renewable energy and conservation efforts, without the constraints of broader EU regulations. In terms of immigration, both countries have managed their population growth independently from EU directives. This autonomy allows them to implement policies that directly reflect their societal needs and labor market conditions. Through the European Economic Area Agreements, Norway and Iceland participate in the single market without full EU membership. This arrangement facilitates trade while allowing them to maintain sovereignty and avoid some of the deeper political integrations inherent in EU membership. Norway and Iceland's limited influence in EU decision-making stems from their non-membership status. While they participate in the European Economic Area, they lack a direct vote in the EU's policy-setting bodies, which can sometimes align against their national interests. The impact of Brexit has prompted both Norway and Iceland to reassess their relationships with the EU. As the UK was a significant non-Eurozone member, its departure has shifted dynamics within the EU, influencing how associated non-member states engage with the Union. In terms of education and research, both countries have managed to participate in EU programs like Horizon Europe and Erasmus+ without being EU members. This involvement supports their academic and scientific communities, fostering innovation while maintaining educational sovereignty. Defense and security considerations for Norway and Iceland are also influenced by their NATO memberships rather than EU ties. This stance allows them to focus on transatlantic security policies that align more closely with their geopolitical interests and regional stability needs. Tourism and travel in both countries have been streamlined through agreements like the Schengen area, despite their non-EU status. This facilitates easy movement across Europe for their citizens, boosting tourism while maintaining control over their national borders. Future prospects in Norway and Iceland regarding EU relations may well depend on shifts in global economics and regional security dynamics. Both nations could reassess their stances as new trade opportunities emerge or geopolitical tensions heighten, influencing public opinion and policy changes. Learning from other non-EU European countries like Switzerland, which maintains a diverse set of bilateral agreements with the EU, could guide Norway and Iceland. These examples offer insights into balancing sovereignty with the advantages of close economic cooperation, potentially shaping future negotiations and alignments.